Hey,
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate your words, brother. That's awesome, man. I definitely have felt your vibe from the beginning when you started participating. And yeah, I mean, I just want to put something out. Yes, I charge money. Of course I do. It's my time, and I have to keep going. I'm building bigger things, but I do it because I'm building bigger and bigger and bigger. It's not just about me.
Yeah.
And I think I'm pretty darn reasonable as far as, the administrative process and all that stuff, compared to what other people are doing out there when you link it all together and see the value.
Do you do it as one package, or do you do levels? Like if somebody wanted to get in just at a beginning level and you take care of certain administrative processes, and then when they save up more, they're able to do other things that would build upon each other?
Yeah, I mean, we don't do anybody's paperwork or recording or anything. What we do is, if you go on the site, it's less than $100, like 90 some dollars for each part of the two-step process, so to speak, or there's several steps. But so first you have your declaration of status with your authentication. And that's like, we walk you through that, videos, explanations, templates, all that stuff for like $92. So you can make 3 payments of that. Then you have the administrative process all set up the same way, videos, everything, explains why everything is what it is, the whole bit, for like another 90 some dollars. Once you're ready for the trust is the big ticket. That's the $2,500 ticket, which a lot of people go, I can't afford that. So I say, well, I'll work with you whatever I can to set up payments for that. At some point, yes, I do want to bring that way, way, way down. It's just right now, I don't have the means to do that because it takes so much time and energy. The value for $2,500, when you realize what is, in this thing or what value it has. I mean, dude, I paid $2,500 for a version of this trust before I put it on steroids. And, I had to work my butt off to save up $2,500, but I knew I'm going to get this thing. So my plan is going into the future is, yes, to do something that's affordable for everybody. Okay. But I have to charge, because how am I supposed to keep this thing going and building it bigger and bigger without any money? Yeah. And everybody goes, oh no, they go, oh, you got access to your account, your hidden accounts. You shouldn't need money. No, it's not how this works, people.
My goodness, man. Where's the money?
Well, yeah.
What's that?
No money. What?
Yeah, everybody's looking for that easy money and the TDA accounts and all that stuff. And I think that maybe this is time for you to express, at least from your Truth and Trust organization, your perspectives on all those TDA accounts and these free money things. I think we already kind of touched upon it, but before you do that, I also want to make the clarification for everyone that we're not here to give legal advice. If I'm correct in interpreting where you're coming from, where I'm coming from on this interview and on the show that I'm working on, it's for education. Mm-hmm. It's for education. We're teaching people how to empower themselves. Like you said, I'm offering education and material.
Yes.
Resources that I've found along the way that I can give you to help to establish and build your trust, to establish and build and trust, once again, can be molded in 1.5 million different ways. I think people should realize that as well. But go ahead.
Absolutely.
Go ahead.
You are 100% correct, man. I get emails from people off the site. They're like, can you guarantee me this is a remedy? And the first thing I respond with is absolutely not. Number one, I don't give guarantees. And number two, I don't promote remedies. These are a set of tools for you to use based off your own knowledge. If you can't obtain the knowledge, then you're not ready to be free, because you're not ready to put the time in to understand what it means to be responsible. So all these people that come with the TDAs and all this stuff, I tell them, not here. There's plenty of people on the internet that'll get you in jail for that. Go for it, because that's the only place you're going to get. Why? Because none of that belongs to you. It belongs to the warehouseman, not you. Okay, the only thing that belongs to you is the entity that they're using to create all that. So if you can cut them off with that at the knees, which I effectively feel like I've done, except when I say that, let's not misconstrue it. If I say I cut them off the knees, what I mean is, yes, I have all of the records and everything that I feel I can put an estoppel on anything that they're doing. However, does that mean that all of a sudden they stop trading my certificate, stop trading? No, they're still out there doing it. They're still out there abusing it. That's why I'm taking it to the next level and the next level and the next level, because I know where I can get enforcement at this point, you know, and it's not in this country. You cannot get it in this country. And you cannot get it without proper status, you know. Now, that doesn't mean that some of these remedies and processes don't work. I don't want to shit on that either, because they do. I've seen them work, you know. But it's not the paper. It's you, you know. I mean, you know that. You know, there's people you talk to that I talk to. Yeah, that, you know, they could have the same exact paperwork as the next guy, but they know how to speak it when they're confronted. The other guy doesn't. So the other guy goes to jail and that person doesn't, because they know, oh shit, this dude really does know what he's talking about.
Do you provide heading how to operate, so that when we're done with the process, we're actually able to operate, you know, think, be, and do, and have a process?
Yeah, that's an ongoing journey. And at the moment, no, I don't. But that's my next step and I'm trying to get people to come in and help, because I can't do it alone, is to build an education platform. Again, it'll be membership based, but I got to be careful with that too. Anyway, I'm having some meetings that may take care of all this, right? But yes, the plan is to create a platform that is educational, so people can continually learn. They can come at their leisure. They can go on the site. They can learn.
Advancing concepts, right?
Yeah, so that's the next step. I just haven't, you know, been able to get there yet with all the other stuff I got going on.
Well, I think, like you said, you start having membership, people teaching each other. You run the risk of some principle getting diluted, something getting twisted, and all of a sudden it's being taught out of your camp, and it's not really actually what you want to enforce, what you want people to know. So right. I think that is something that you got to be careful of.
Well, yeah, it's that, and, you know, their classic maneuver is, you know, if there's a membership, we're going to find who the head of the membership is, and we're going to take them out. And when we take him out, the rest of them are going to just flounder away. And that's what happens every time, you know? So what I need to create is some sort of ens legis, right? Some fiction that is providing the education and the platform outside the jurisdiction, not even on this soil, you know? So that way they can't even misconstrue the jurisdiction in their favor, right? So if I'm outside the soil and it's not me, you see what I mean? So I'm figuring out, this is my next divine, you know, downloads I keep getting, is the little pieces on how exactly to structure that, you know?
I think that you're absolutely on the right path, and I'm not offering a solution that I have experience enforcing or doing. But for me, well, once again, you have the ability to create unlimited trusts. Mm-hmm. That's something that people should remember is,
yes,
just because I create a trust does not mean that everything operates out of that trust. You'll probably agree that most people would say you should actually have multiple trusts to protect each asset.
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
But if I may continue for a moment, the fact that we can mold and shape a trust into anything that we want for something that is not for the protection of a particular asset, we could use it like the Massachusetts trusts were created for business. They would put capital into this trust and name them the trustees, basically the guys who are running the day-to-day affairs. The beneficiaries would be these initial shareholders, the certificate of interest holders. Mm-hmm. But we could do the same with education.
Yes.
Your trust template, as an example, or if we put together a booklet of education, and our purpose of the trust was to educate the beneficiaries, the membership, then essentially you could be the trustee of that trust, not personally liable, right? That's how we would sign it, not personally, but there's no asset to really for them to grab a hold of, and the ability for you to enforce the obligation of this trust that you have the obligation to enforce should be unlimited by virtue of contract law, correct?
Yes, private contract, absolutely.
Right.
And if you think about it, what is a country? What is the structure of a country? Like I said earlier, yeah, it's a warehouse, but it's a trust. They're all trusts in some form or another.
I don't know if you can't really see it on here, but I was writing some notes earlier, and I got right on here, it says Constitution equals trust.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
That's just, now what is the purpose of that trust? To manage the bankruptcy. That's all that trust is, right? Because every trust has to have purpose as a fundamental leg, table leg to hold it up. The 4 pillars, and the 4 pillars, very simply put, are property, parties, purpose, and intent, right? Without one of those, there's no trust. It'll fail.
Right.
So those 4 things, the purpose is so important. And like you said, you don't have to have a trust merely to hold assets. We can create grantor trusts. We can create revocable, irrevocable. We can do all that. What we want to avoid is coming under statutory regulation. And unfortunately, the only thing I've seen with that is the contract trust because of the contract.
Absolutely.
So that's 100%. Why I said, that's why I said I want to use that, because any other trust can easily go through their little test that they give it, right? Their legal test, and can fit one of those other molds that to them says, oh, that's statutory, that's statutory, that's statutory. The contract trust is not. Right. So that's why I choose to go with it. And like you said, you could use it for anything. So when somebody gets a $2,500 trust, and they go, oh, it's $2,500. Yeah, but you got a template, man. You could create a million trusts off of that.
Right.
Easily. All you got to do is retype it. It's not and change the purpose and intent and some other, where you want different things to move around, but you keep the contract basically what it is. So, it becomes very valuable in that sense.
Absolutely.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Back up a little bit. We were talking about moolah. I've heard of a white card and a black card. White cards used to get people out of jail. Black cards used to get, I think, you pay off debts, discharge, and get yourself out of jail. Seems real.
I mean, I've heard they're real, but if you want my opinion on something like that, if I'm accepting a card coming out of another man's hand, I'm accepting his contract for that card, and I don't want to do that. I don't want your contract. I'll do this on my own, and I can, and I will, So I don't, I mean, I've heard I met someone that had a black card. But it wasn't the black card that we talk about. But the banking industry calls it a black card. When these super wealthy, these super rich, they have unlimited cards. They could use it for anything. And this girl had one. I mean, her dad had a jet, the whole bit, So, they exist in terms of black cards and what you can do with them. But, again, I don't want any contracts with anybody like that. My opinion. That's just my opinion.
Well, if something that if I'm going to stay in the same subject of not being a part of their group, and then speak on something that we talk about a lot in the IDP group, which is we spend so much time talking about their system. But I think that it's important to also recognize the ability for us to create an alternative system. Not saying F you to the system, not saying, right? We're not saying we're here to fight you. We're simply creating the alternative system.
Exactly.
Peaceful. Like you said, we're not involved in war. We have no interest in war. We have no interest in anything that takes any property. We're not interested in trespassing anyone. Our society is strictly for peace and positive uplifting purposes. There's nothing wrong with having that. And you can create your own money, as long as you're not trespassing their money. Like you said, if you're not coming into their system trying to do this and do that, you could create the Truth of TNT note, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I could accept the TNT cryptocurrency and trade back the, RAS, Rasta currency back to you,
Yep, absolutely you could, yes.
And we could have a contract to do that.
You're the first person I've ever talked to that has said exactly what I see too. My thing that I like to preach is just that. We don't need their system, man. Everybody's, I got to get remedy from their system. I don't need shit from their system, because everything from their system comes with some sort of agreement. I don't want it.
Digital or fiat?
Well, digital is fiat. If you look at substance, right?
Well, the question is, the question really comes down to who's creating the fiat?
Who defines what money is, right? If we really get down to same question, same thing you're saying, just worded a little different. Yeah. Who defines that? If I say, this Post-it note is money, then it's money. Who the hell said, oh, it's gold. This is gold. It's money. It's a rock. It's a rock, man.
Right. Here's the one thing that is actually for the first time just dawned on me is the United States system, based upon a non-value backed dollar, but it's based upon the full faith and credit of the people, is the first currency to have actual value, because we are the only value on the earth.
Right.
And I say that in gentle terms. Obviously, God gives us the blessings of all creation and everything positive that we could enjoy. But when it comes down to gold, like you said, what's gold? To one society might be worth something. To the next society, they say, yo, I don't care about that. But you, as a man, willing to participate and give your forth your energy, that's valuable.
Right.
Right.
And that's what they don't want us to know or figure out. And unfortunately for them, now is the time in humanity's evolution that we've got it figured out.
You're very
because, yeah. Well, I mean,
David, what did you say?
I said your very being is the value.
Absolutely.
Yeah, your essence, your life energy.
Yeah,
and in my bailment agreement, the trustees made the point that, this is backed by my life energy. So we can put whatever quote unquote dollar amount we want on it in your currency, because who's going to put the value on it? Only God can do that other than me and God. Nobody else can do it.
Thank you. Right.
So that's what that's what I tell them. I mean, I've always stood on my spiritual principles first. Even when I would go into court and these judges would run off the bench and hide in the back, because I was like, I don't give a shit who you are, dude. Do you have a contract from God over me? No. Okay. And what I would do is I'd actually open a court running in their courtroom. And most of the judges would shit bricks because they try to have the marshals arrest me and they couldn't, because I'd notice them all. Boom, I'd stick notices in their hand. When they would reach out to grab me, they'd get a notice. Boom, there you go. So I'd have a stack of them ready, and all the hands would come out, and I go, just give them all out real quick right in their hand. And they'd all back up, and the judge would go, oh, we got to take a recess. And he'd go hide in the back, and everybody in the courtrooms whispering, what's going on? It was hilarious. But the point that I made was, we are living beings under the divine creator. No one has any authority over that except the creator himself, who created us as his property, so to speak. So unless there's a contract in here for that, we're just going to go ahead and handle business as the creator's creation. Who are you? Yeah, thank you. So there's no injury here, right? Because if nobody's alive and there's no real people here, there's no injury. And I mean, I got cases dismissed on that stuff, Yeah, very, very easy.
And you should be able to, like you said, that is the essence. We were all created equal, and therefore, only thing that could ever rule is contract law.
Yes,
it might be verbal,
exactly.
It might be expressed, but it always has to come down to, do we agree? If you're trying to take advantage of me without us agreeing first, now you're getting into slavery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's trying to contract with me? I heard that's a pretty good phrase to use.
Yep, exactly. Who wants a contract?
Yeah.
Now, I've got a separation of rights that I showed Greg the other day. I turned it into a pocket notice, right?
Yeah.
I got it from a Mason. So what I did was I started thinking, because he would use it in court and with police officers and everything, and it's just in a separation of rights. It says that, your offer of contract is hereby, honorably denied. 14th Amendment U.S. citizenship is denied, so on and so forth. So what I started thinking was, wait a minute, if I take this and record this on the public record and have that record authenticated, now I can turn this into a little card, and I've got some serious backup with that thing being a record. To them, if I hand it to them, they're going to go, oh, is this a fake ID? Blah, 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 blah. No, actually, you've just been noticed, man. Thank you for taking notice. And you're an agent of the state, so you just bound the state to the notice. So you've been notified. Anything from this point forward, we don't talk about. So we're done speaking. And that's powerful. It's a lot of people's problem is they talk too much. Oh, I got to give them information. You don't got to give shit. You're not there.
I'm guilty of that to the highest degree.
I'm guilty. I did it.
I did it. It's because you could be their friend. Sometimes you think it's because you could actually reach out and trust someone.
Right. But you can't, unfortunately. So the best thing, the peaceful thing to say is, I'm without counsel. Here's your notice. I can't talk. Not without. Now, my friend, I think I told you about the CPS story, well, we're not friends anymore, that she got intoxicated heavily and then drove and abandoned my son and her son. So and my 11-year-old son was smart enough to say, I'm not getting in a car with you, and I'll keep your son with me. So, man, I'm proud of that. Proud father moment there.
Yeah, no doubt.
the cop made me take him back to her house so he could interrogate her, question her. So we get there and I'm like, whatever, I just wanted to get the kid home and didn't want him to ride in a cop car because their policy is if the kid comes in a cop car, we got to cuff him. I'm like, he's freaking 12, man, and he's got a mental disorder. He doesn't even know what's going on, whatever. So I'll take him with me so you don't have to cuff him. So I bring her back to the house, goes in the house. He questions her. In her state of mind, she remembered because she listens a lot to what I say, no answers. So he starts questioning. She goes, I'm sorry, I can't speak to you. I don't know. All right. So the cop comes out and he's like, he's all bent out of shape. Now, he's been in there for half an hour trying to get her to break, and he comes out and he's like, I'm a little pissed off right now. She's not talking to me and we'll see about that. So he goes over and he's like, I'm going to go call my superior. I'm like, guess what your superior is going to say, So I'm just watching. I'm like, oh, that sucks, man. Yeah, that sucks, So he walks over to the car and he's on the phone for like 15 minutes. He comes back and goes, okay, so here's what we're going to do. It doesn't appear that she's intoxicated. Smelled her breath, It's giving me this big cockamamie story about that everything's okay now. We're just going to go ahead on our way.
Wow.
Because they need
power of the tongue.
Yeah. Exactly. They need the information to hold against you. And that's what people keep forgetting. And they start talking. You're just giving them a story, man. You're just giving them the ammo. Stop giving them the ammo.
If you could think of them not as people, but as computers that are just writing down and dictating, like, they're just a dictation machine, just writing down for the court system exactly what you're saying. They don't give it. They're looking for a hole, just like water looks for a hole to leak into. They're looking for a way to get in.
Yep.
Some way to break in with the system into your personal life.
Absolutely. Just like CPS when they called and I refused to give them information, the woman got irate. She couldn't so then she starts spinning stuff, right? Because I said, my child is my property and I've got all the records for that, and that child is held in trust, so we're not talking. Your child is property. I've never heard such a thing. You're an unfit parent, So trying to spin every little thing you give them, man. It's like you just can't say nothing,
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like, yeah, you go ahead and take that to your superior.
Well, we're using words sometimes that they're unaware in this modern world. Some of these clerks and some of the lay people, if you will, they're not aware that property means more than a pen, right, or a phone.
Right.
It's not. I mean, like you're talking once again about attorneys having rights and interests. Your property is your lifeblood, your energy, your children,
everything,
every single thing.
Yep. And the best thing to do with that is, again, in my opinion, put it in trust. That way, hey, sorry, I don't own it, And when I did my living will, that was a big part of, that whole package I sent to the judge too. I've got a living will here that states I am here to do the will of God. And because of that, I can't have any of this stuff, anything. I'm here to clean up the earth, provide abundance, provide shelter, peace, healing, all that stuff. That's what I'm here for. And you can't infringe upon me or stop me from doing that unless I have some sort of property. And guess what? I don't have it anymore. It's in trust. So when somebody comes at me like CPS, and if they want to pull out their guns, that's fine. You go ahead and pull out your guns. I'm going to pull out my peace flags, which are all my papers with all my freaking recordings. And I got authentic copies of them. So that's best evidence rule now. Now I got the best evidence rule against you. And I'm not entering this shit in court. So you bring anything to a judge, he's going to get the notice. Just letting you know, I'm at peace, Alternative dispute resolution, that's what I'm doing. Oh, you're going to war on me? Now we're breaking treaty law. Now I go to a higher power than them, right? That's what I'm working on now. Where do I go next? And I know where because I'm being given the answers. I'm like, it just hit me the other day. I'm like, I got this, And no sooner did it hit me than I was contacted by somebody that's going to put me in touch with people that understand this,
Hell yeah.
So I'm like, cool, here we go. Next step.
Robert, do you have any friends, any black robe friends? Or you
say you have any friends?
Yeah.
Or in their chambers and started questioning you and asking, how do you know this?
Well, according to Facebook, I got like 957 friends, man. I mean, come on.
Right.
And I know like probably 5 of them.
Right.
No, but no one's ever pulled me off.
How many of them are judges?
Who knows, right? I have no idea. But no, I've never been pulled aside, although I have been told that you know, the other team was scared of me, so to speak. But never had anyone pull me aside.
I got to see that live. I got to see a judge shrivel at the bench and get up and because front it.
Yeah, I wish we had video of it. I got audio of it. I don't have video, but yeah.
Nice. Well, yeah, they're scared. They're scared of what I mean. They're scared of what people may know.
Right, but see, you got to be careful, because I learned from my arrest that, wait a minute, no wonder I was going into a public venue that they own, they control, and trying to assert private rights. Now, granted, I was able to cut them off at the pass and hold them at bay and make a go of it. However, they retaliated by putting me in jail and showing me that you need to stay out of our shit, man. You know, stop fucking shit up for us. If these people aren't waking up and coming in here and doing, that's their problem. You know, you stay the hell out. Okay, fine. We got an agreement. I'll stay the hell out. I don't want anything to do with court. I will never enter anything in court. You know, never. Done. Over. Because if you
at all, you're not confronting judges anymore.
Oh hell no! I would not since 2013 when I was arrested. No, man, I don't mess with it. You know, if they confront me, I go refuse for cause without dishonor. Nope, don't want to participate. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. You know, and by the way, I can't operate that name you're looking for anyway. It's not me. You know, I can even sign on it. Hey, signed manager, which is an agent. Sorry, I'm the agent, but I'm not it. You know, and I'm not the registered agent. I'm just an agent of the entity that is the registered agent, so to speak.
Right. Well, that would be
a private agent.
Was staying out of the revolving door for sure.
That's the best way to do it, man.
Yeah.
You know, I hear. It really is. Now, you know, there's a lot of people who are already contracted. You know, they already have judgments, or they're already in the middle of a court process. You know, and unfortunately, nothing usually works at that point because they've got you locked in. Unless
wherever you can break the cycle, break it.
Right. Unless you really know where you're at with it. And sometimes depending on the severity, I mean, if you're looking at years in prison, I can understand not, wanting to agree. But sometimes it's better to agree, pay the fine, do the whatever little shit they want you to do so that you can set your offense up.
Right.
That's what I learned by that experience was, wait a minute, I had a lot of private notices and stuff, but I didn't create any public records or anything that they can see, because they can't see it in their system and they can't recognize it. Right. So that's when it dawned on me, well, I've got to create the public record first. That's the foundation. Then I got to give notice. That becomes the walls, and then I got the trust, which is the lid and the roof. And now I've got my fortress, They
can only deal with the fiction.
Right. Exactly.
But they're going to presume that your flesh and blood is the surety for that fiction as long as they can. You know what I mean?
Until you show them records.
Yeah.
At least that's my thinking and my approach that I've always used. Oh, wait a minute. Nope. Sorry. We're going to debunk that right now. So there's no assumption and presumption.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. And that's where this administrative record keeping, public notice, all these things, like you said, they might not have given me back we heard you and we agree you're now private and you operate sovereign or whatever language people want to hear, but at least you have that record.
Yes.
Show them, exactly. Hey, look, I gave you notice. You guys, according to contract law, failed to respond.
That's right. Yeah. And now that's called an equitable lien. Once you finish that process, you now have an equitable lien. It doesn't matter if it's recorded on UCC or anywhere else. The process of doing equity by giving notice and being fair and honorable and just is a lien in itself, because you've done your equity and they have failed. So you've got the scales are tipped. Your equity is higher than theirs.
That's interesting. It's almost like ahead of time I'm going to win in court. So because that win's going to happen, I could already tell you there's an equitable lien upon the property in question, right?
Yeah, because again, it's not so much winning in court, but stopping the court from creating its accounts and going through its procedures. Because remember, these courts are just banks, so you got to look at it that way too. But yeah, I've got an offense rather than being on a defense, right. which is a bad place to come from, And court, just like American jurisprudence will tell you, under alternative dispute resolution, is an adversarial battleground. Alternative dispute resolution, however, is a neutral battleground or neutral grounds. There is no battle. There is no fighting. That's where you want to be. And administrative process of what you're doing by notice and all, that is your neutral playing ground. That is where you're saying, here's the olive branch.
Right.
I'll stay on my side. You stay on your side. When I come into your territory, Caesar, I will follow your laws, Caesar, because I'm agreeing to come into your yard. I'm going to play in your yard. I'm going to play by your rules. If I'm going to play in my yard, we're going to play by my rules. You know, and that's just how it is. So once you draw that line, that's walking public and private. So a lot of people go, oh, I can't do this. It's public. I can't. Well, you can if you're set up properly and your entities are doing the public stuff, because it's not you.
Sure.
Then who has to set up the public entity? Well, of course I have to, right? Or I can have people do it for me. But if I have to, I've got a fallback. Well, wait a minute. The trust said I could use that entity, which is another fiction, to create another fiction. So it's not really me. I just have the authority given by the trustee. So if you're coming after me for the business that's created in the public, you're going to have to go back to the trustees because they're the ones really holding my name. I can't use that name, not my name, but the name, without their permission. So I can set up an entity with that name because I got permission from the trustees to do that. So you're just layering and layering and layering protection, and arm's length, arm's length, arm's length. But you've got to know your stuff, and you got to keep clear records because if it comes time to get called into question, you got to back it up.
Right.
You know.
Right. It can't be. In the end, if it can be pierced, then it's all been in vain.
Right. Exactly.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Yes.
How many trustees do you have?
Really, I only use 2 for a few different trusts. I got 4 altogether, but 2 on each trust.
You don't recommend zero trustees?
What's that?
So you don't recommend solo trusts? That's still a no.
Oh, no. Because who's holding title? You are.
Right.
So it's all about title. That's what it is. So if you're holding title, which is a receipt, essentially, to the property, you're liable. So it doesn't matter if you're the trustee, the beneficiary, all the way around. If you're all the one, first off, a trust can't even stand that way. Because how do you give property to something else when it's all you? You know, and that's why when I see these trusts set up, like attorneys will set you up in a revocable trust for your real estate or whatever, and I look at it and I'm like, okay, so you're the trustee and the beneficiary? How does that happen?
Well, I think that's where people have to decide why they're creating the trust.
Right.
I don't.
What the purpose is exactly.
Well, I mean. The Carlton Weiss article that we posted a while back, the trustee is a way of in commerce is a way of life. His perspective that he was coming from was from the perspective of the trustee. Mm-hmm. Then you have people who want to come at the trust from a perspective of being a beneficiary. Then you have mm-hmm. Other ways of approaching it where you are, like you said, an agent working through a different organization the trust created. You have trustees, and your children might be the beneficiaries. You may or may not be one of them.
Right.
But I think what should be emphasized strictly to the people who may be listening afterwards is you cannot be the solo beneficiary and trustee. No,
that's bad news, man.
Well, it's a pierceable trust. It's not a trust.
Absolutely.
That's like me saying I'm going to give this pen to myself for the benefit of myself. Did it ever change hands?
No. And did the title ever split? No. You're retained.
It's null and void. It's self-canceling.
Yes. I was just going to say, what happens when you merge 2 titles back together? When you merge equitable and legal title together, you have a merger and it terminates a trust.
Right.
That's how you terminate a trust, is when you merge trust. All right. So if all the titles remain in you never had a trust to begin with. It's just hocus pocus, you know.
It's a sham. But I do want to point out though that when we spoke earlier about the idea of having a trust for the purpose of education mm-hmm. and utilizing that trust, for me, I would want to see myself, I believe, as the trustee of something like that.
Me too, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure that because I just want to make sure the people who listen afterwards are understanding that when it comes to assets, you don't necessarily want to be the trustee. You want to be able to benefit from it and not have the legal attachment to it. When it comes to exercising of rights in this navigable waters of commerce, sometimes being a trustee can be very beneficial for the purposes of sidestepping regulatory statutes,
Yes.
which is what we were originally talking about with these original Massachusetts trusts and whatnot.
Right.
From the
Absolutely.
perspective of freedom, these Massachusetts trust guys, they weren't the trustees. It was the managers who were running the day-to-day affairs that were the trustees. But from our perspective of educators, freedom fighters, freedom seekers, peace lovers, some trusts could very well be utilized as the trustee, you being the trustee, for the purpose of moving forward in the world.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yeah, I've often said, man, I feel like in my purpose that I'm the ultimate trustee, in my opinion, because I'm going to protect you come hell or high water, man. I'll take a bullet for you.
Right.
Are you going to do that for me? So if I'm a trustee on your trust, you're a trustee on mine, we got a pretty damn solid team, because I can benefit from the assets in that in your trust. You can benefit from the ones in mine. So you just have to keep in mind who you want to be and when you want to be it for the situation, and then you create off of that.
That's it.
You know?
That's it.
That's all you do. What do I want to be? Well, I want to protect this for someone. Good, awesome. But we're so taught to be greedy and selfish, and it's mine. I got to own mine, that we can't even wrap our head around. Why would I want to give my property to somebody else? Why would I want to defend somebody else? I got to defend myself.
Right.
It's like, ugh.
Which is why spirituality, once again, is lovely.
Key.
Yeah, they intertwine so nicely together. Once again, you say, okay, to be the benefactor, to be able to benefit someone is a beautiful thing in life, and
Yes.
you see why it actually legally can
Karma.
have, beautiful protections.
Mm-hmm. Service to others. I'm here for service to others. And there are others here for service to me, because I need servicing too.
Well,
we all do.
And
I
that's
mean,
where
that's
it comes in. Yeah.
My own minion.
Mm-hmm. The first question I get from people that want a trust set up is, well, who do I get for trustees? I don't have it. I don't know anybody I can trust. I'm like, oh my God. Wow, it's amazing, man, how they have degraded us so much in trusting each other in unity that we can't even find trustees.
How many true sovereigns do we have on planet Earth right now, do you think?
Yeah,
True
you
sovereigns.
got me. I have no idea. That's a good question.
One, God.
We got a lot of people that think they are.
Pretend that they are.
The
Right.
Queen? The Queen?
See, I personally don't believe in sovereignty, because, I mean, the word sovereignty, I should say, not necessarily, even kind of the concept.
White spells out what a sovereign is. They'll agree on that.
Yeah, I'm not, in my being and who I am, I'm not above anybody else, but there's nobody above me either. So what does that, if we're all sovereigns, what does that make us? Just freaking existing. Right? We're just existing.
That's
Yeah.
very, very well spoken.
So anyway.
Shoot, Robert. Unless David's got some other questions, I'll let you go, man. I know you got a lot going on in your life, and appreciate you being able to get together and chat, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. We've been trying to do this for a long time, so I'm glad we got to do it, and we definitely need to do it again.
Absolutely.
Great meeting you, Robert.
You too, brother. I will talk to both of you guys soon, man, and I'll keep everybody posted on developments and things like that, and looking forward to sharing with you guys.
Absolutely, brother. God bless.
All right, you too, guys.
All
See
right,
ya.
talk soon. Peace.
Okay.
Peace, David.
Bye-bye.
See you, Robert.
See you, David.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Later, Greg. Later, Robert.
See ya.